Alright, so I kind of feel bad. I made fun of this girl a bit on Twitter by saying she started off sounding great and then it took a nosedive pretty quick. But given just how poor the economic takes are, especially what I've seen on TikTok, I kind of take it back. I mean, I still stand by what I said. This girl took a nosedive in this video. But it's something I didn't need to say, I guess, because not for nothing, who can blame her? I doubt her school offers any economics courses. And also, if you remember, during, I think, the 2011 debt ceiling crisis under Obama, Obama was considering minting a $1 trillion coin. And as much as I don't like Obama, he is an intelligent guy. So if he can make such a stupid statement, then so can she. The bar is a bit lower for her. But anyway, the beginning of this video, she's actually on to something. She's so close to getting something that most people don't think about, so kudos to her. She holds up a $5 currency note and a $50 currency note and says that they're the same pieces of paper, just with different numbers on it. In just that sentence, she actually did encapsulate fiat currency. So she's got a point. There's nothing behind it except a collective viewpoint that it holds some value based on the number printed on it. So that's good for now, but if that ever changes, that currency is doomed. If it dawns on people that, hey, these are pieces of paper printed off with merely different numbers and there's nothing real or tangible behind it, well, then their real value, which is closer to zero, may be realized, and that's all they'll get you. They'll get you a big nothing if enough is printed. Now, this is no big deal as long as other forms of currency are legal, and if there's competition among different currencies. If I can hedge myself against fiat currency, I can at least protect myself to some degree. But she's actually off to a decent start in this video. When I first started watching it, part of me was saying, whoa, this is a TikTok video that might actually be sensible. But here's where it turns a bit sour. She starts saying, well, why can't we just print a ton off and all agree to not let it inflate? Now, this can't happen for a lot of reasons, which I'll get to later. But one big thing I feel bad about is I shouldn't make fun of her, really. As I said before, it's not her fault. I sincerely doubt wherever she's gone to school ever offered one even optional economics course, which if you've never read anything on the topic, I can legitimately see how you might come to this conclusion that she has come to. It's kind of like Hannibal Buress and his joke from way back when in regards to counterfeit. He said it's the one crime that if we all just agree it's cool, then it shouldn't cause any problems. I butchered it, I'm sure, but that was the gist of it. Now, I can hear something like that and laugh because I get where he's coming from, because you need to disconnect from reality a bit when enjoying comedy, otherwise your life might just be a bummer all the time, but that's besides the point. I can actually see why this girl said what she said, but like I said, she's off base a bit. So there's a couple things I would tell this girl, despite her probably never seeing this video. She's never gonna see this video, I'm sure of it. The first thing would just be sort of an overarching piece of evidence that would be, hey, take Zimbabwe, the Weimar Republic, or Austria during World War I, or Venezuela over the past couple years. All of these places had crazy amounts of inflation, so much so that a loaf of bread in Zimbabwe, I think, cost a wheelbarrow full of cash to buy. Similar thing happened in Venezuela as well. Now, if there was ever a country that had every motivation to make some agreement to just not allow inflation to be recognized somehow, it would be those countries during those time periods. But it never happened. And they were highly motivated to have prices fall and to prevent them from keep going up and up and up. The buyers and the sellers both wanted that to happen, but it never happened for a lot of reasons. So, although what I just said doesn't have any real details in it, that should at least make you stop and think that perhaps there is a fault in your logic somewhere, and I'll get to that in a second. But the second thing I would say is that unfortunately inflation is not just a mere decision by one group or one individual. It's a naturally emergent phenomenon that occurs when the increase of the money supply and increase of money circulating happens and nothing can stop it. You can't stop it in the same way that you can't stop the wind from blowing or the tides coming in or going out. And there are reasons for that. So let's do a little thought experiment with inflation. And if there was one part of this video that I hope that this girl watches, it would be this part. Let's do a little thought experiment with inflation. Let's say everyone, all 320 million Americans, have a trunk filled with millions of units of some currency. And let's say, hypothetically, you got everyone to agree that somehow 1 unit of that currency that everyone has trunks filled with can still buy, let's say, a week's worth of food. So 1 unit of currency equals 1 week's worth of food, but everyone has millions of units of currency. Who is going to work? You've got more money than you can spend in 200 lifetimes. So if no one is working, then no one is producing anything to buy in the first place. So that would not be functional. So you see how almost right away you've got an incoherent situation where, despite there being a plethora of cash all around you, you very quickly are left with a dysfunctional and incoherent economy. Now, what response would have to happen to bring some semblance of sanity back into that economy? You would have to raise prices so the actual worth of that currency is reflected in those prices. As printing and circulating tons of money with no change in prices, with all things being equal, of course, very quickly divorces the money you've got from the value of the things that are being produced and the value of the things you're buying. So people can't just come and grab anything with no regard to conserving and no regard to what they're buying, is actually worth, which would quickly lead to shortages, by the way, because if prices don't change when money is created and circulated to a significant enough degree, then everyone is coming in to buy everything. Who cares if I'm getting more than I need? And who cares that all the bread I'm taking is going to become moldy before I even get to open the package up? You see, here's the thing. Production couldn't even keep up with that much overheating, and prices would have to adjust for that. Otherwise, you're going to end up with nothing on every shelf in every store. You can't print money to prosperity, right? You can't print yourself into prosperity, because all that would happen would be that everyone would have every incentive to buy up as much as they can. Also, not for nothing, they know all their neighbors can buy everything up too, and that could lead to some problems. It would actually just create a vicious cycle of consumption that production can't keep up with, and as I just said, that would just lead to shelves being bare. So it's actually an ironic thing. Everyone not getting everything they want is a very important part of a functioning economy, until we create some technology that can create anything out of thin air, of course. But before then, devising a system where everyone gets what they want will end in disaster, and likely no one getting anything they want, or even worse, getting the things that they need. So, all in all, the more fiat currency people have, the more things they might want to buy, and that will bid prices up. The more money circulating through the economy, the production has to ramp up too. Then that also causes the cost of production to go up. Then the price consumers pay has to go up too, and it's just an inevitable cycle involving money being exchanged untold billions of times throughout every day that will have an inevitable consequence that no mere agreement can stop. And even if that agreement were somehow adhered to, as I illustrated before, that would just quickly create an economy that is just completely incoherent and dysfunctional. But that is all for now. Like and subscribe, and take it easy.